Hello, good folks. Sure is good to see everybody again. I've got the privilege of speaking with you this fine evening about the Santa Fe Independent School District versus Doe. And what this case really involved was the school district's policy permitting student-led, student-initiated prayer, the old football games, violating the Establishment Clause. This took place in 2000, this case, but what was going on is in 1995, the school had an election where they would elect a student chaplain, council chaplain, to deliver prayers over the PA before school football games. This whole practice challenged the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. And so they were being challenged by two sets of current or former students and their mothers. One family was Mormon, one was Catholic, and hence the Doe, because they were able to litigate anonymously. So while this was being looked at, the school changed its policy, adopted a new policy on how they would go about addressing this situation. One way that they would do was they held an election to see if they still wanted to do it. A student-led, student-initiated election, which they did, and then they had again another election where a student-led, student-initiated election where they elected one student throughout for the full year to do these PA addresses. And they also changed the title from prayer to messages or statements instead. And so as this went to court in 2000, students and things like that were under the idea that when they were going to these football games, they were being, in order to attend, they were having to take a good old listen to a prayer if they chose to or not. And, you know, and in the end, as they started looking at this case, the whole policy was invalid because it establishes an improper majoritarian election on religion, and it creates a perception of encouraging the delivery of prayer at a series of school events. Since it was a school authorized policy and it took place on school grounds and at school events, it again took that stovepipe hat to state, right? And with the fact that it was one student being able to address the entire student body and the attendees at these events, it was deemed that it wasn't addressing the minority candidates and that their views would never be effectively heard. And so the public expression of the views of the majority of the student body delivered with approval of the school administration. And so this whole thing seemed to be backed by the school administration since it was a school election and the policy was tweaked. So in the end, the policy was invalid for those reasons that I just talked about. And sure was good to chat with you about this pretty interesting thing. And thank you, and go Broncos this weekend. Thank you.